Reunion Island, located in Indian Ocean and representing French territory, not too known here. Although the place is extremely curious. Now let's talk about local Hindus who practice sacrifices. Moderately active volcano and the road, which is being built right in the ocean. The area of Reunion is 12 square kilometers, which is only kilometer more than the area of Moscow. If you want to quickly find it on the map, be guided by Madagascar, located 700 kilometers from him. For a long time, Reunion was able to maintain the blessed status of a place completely free of people. The situation changed in the 10th century when Arab people began to come to its shores court. However, the Arabs do not settle here were in a hurry. At the dawn of the 16th century on Reunion arrived by the Portuguese, led by navigator and discoverer Diogo de Achim. So he ended up in the ranks of the islands of this region, wherein the role the first settlers were made by residents Old World. In 1642 Reunion ended up under the control of the French. In the future, he moved several times from hand to hand and changed the name. For example, at the beginning of the 19th century, it was named Napoleon Bonaparte. From 1946 to this day the island has overseas status Department of France. Accordingly, he is part of this country and the European Union, and as a currency on its territory the euro is used, but while the island is located almost 9,000 kilometers from the European the territory of France. Reunion is volcanic origin. Volcanoes still play his life is not unimportant. Now there are two on the island. The title of chief rightfully bears Python de la Furnace, whose age is an impressive 500,000 years. He is known for his tough temper. For 10 years this volcano has been erupting on average once every 9 months. Luckily his amazing activity does not harm people in any way. From 1640 years Python de la Furnace has erupted over hundreds of times, with each eruption its height increases. Thanks to him locals and tourists can admire the Black Valley of Grand Brule, which looks like it is on another planet. Second volcano Python Danish, the highest point of Reunion. Unlike his brother he has a long time calmed down. Last eruption happened thousands of years ago, and now it's chosen by climbers and fans mountain hikes. Despite the rather a modest territory for there are several types of microclimate. They are defined by two key factors: altitude and the direction of the prevailing wind. The north of Reunion is generally humid. On south drier. In mountainous areas humidity and the temperature is lower than in coastal lowlands. The island has two climatic seasons, humid and hot summer, which lasts from November to May, and also relatively dry and cool winter, lasting from May to October. Reunion is a place where harmoniously intertwined several cultures among themselves. This is due to the peculiarities of its historical development. Nowadays about 25% population is Reunion Creole, descendants of the first settlers on the island French. Calmly with them get along with those whose Indian African ancestors were brought to Reunion like slaves. At the end of the first half of the 19th century, slavery cancelled. After that people from China, India, Yemen, Indonesia, and Africa began to come to island on your own to work on contract. And also on the Reunion, did not do without a Russian trace. After the Great October Revolution here white migrants were traveling. In the Soviet era some islanders studied or worked in the USSR. Generally meet here a person who speaks Russian is not so difficult. Besides there is a street on the island and stadium named after Yuri Gagarin. Naturally strong in Reunion French influence is felt. For example, the west coast of the island is not the twin brother of the Côte d'Azur. But the east coast bears little resemblance tourist west. The owners are their small shops and eateries with delightful curry are guided in primarily on the needs of local peasants. In the commune of Bra Painin attracts attention Hindu temple painting which gives rise to associations with bright paints of Disney cartoons. Island Hindus try not to forget about their folk traditions. In particular before harvesting sugarcane, they arrange a sacrifice ceremony goats, within which the animals cut off their heads. Also, Indians spend large-scale and a very spectacular walking ceremony fire. This is usually done in January and July. The apotheosis of the holiday, the passage of the participants over burning coals, that repeats 3 times. If someone gets burned, local consider his thoughts not pure enough. Industry on the island is poorly developed and a lot is brought from Europe. The main agricultural crop going to export, sugar cane. His plantations appeared at the dawn of 19th centuries through the efforts of the British, who then ruled for a short time. Reunion. Made from reed sugar and rum. Another source of income, tourism, although the island is not strong promoted. Life on the Reunion flies into a pretty penny. You have to spend more than in mainland France. This happened because of the island, tax of about 33%. Housing prices relatively acceptable. But this does not easier, and in this case all over again comes up against high taxes. In fact, the owner of the real estate for 10-15 years gives France its full cost. At all dear makes a sad situation communal apartment. The roads in Reunion are great, but bad idea at a breakneck speed, so how there are cameras everywhere and it's easy to catch excess penalty. In cities narrow streets and often one-way movement. Parking for free is allowed only at supermarkets. There are a lot of cars on the island, so traffic jams are a common occurrence here, and population in Reunion rather big. More than 800,000 people. But back to the roads. The old highway connecting the port of Fouin-Dogalit with the capital of Sendini and the international Roland Garros airport lies at the foot of rocks. Due to mudflows, rockfalls and other natural troubles, often there are problems with movement. It is closed almost every week. But despite the danger, the highway is pretty lively. Rides on it more than 80,000 people daily. From his help distribute most of all cargo arriving on the island. In connection with the danger of movement on roads along sheer cliffs, early 2010 the French began to develop and then in the construction of a new coastal highways. Engineers came up with the obvious, but nor is it an ordinary thought. The main feature of the new road is that they are not building it on land, but right above water. Piles are driven directly into the ocean, the bottom, about 100 meters from coast, which will completely solve the problem with rockfalls and mudflows. It is assumed that the length of the trunk will be 12.5 kilometers. The highway is divided into 3 sections, 2 dams and a viaduct. The viaduct is capable of withstand hurricane winds up to 144 km per hour and waves up to 10 meters high. Also, the viaduct turned out to be the most difficult in construction, so that the structure is durable. It is laid on reinforced concrete supports, while it is removed from land almost 200 meters and its height reaches 30 meters above water level. The highway turned out to be rather big. In 3 directions in each direction, and the width of the roadway reaches 30 meters. The total cost of the project will be about $2 billion. The French government allocated $622 million. The rest of the money came from different sources, including private investors and European Union. Work on an amazing road in the ocean should have ended back in 2020 year, but due to the pandemic, the builders did not met the deadline and work is underway until so far. But already now it is possible with confidently assert that this is one of most unusual highways on a very unusual island. Reunion Island, from those parts that it is customary to call it paradise on earth. Stunningly beautiful nature here, hospitable and good-natured people. European civilization harmoniously exists side by side with other cultures. In general and for life, and for tourism, Reunion is an excellent option with a minimum disadvantages. That's all, friends. If you liked this video, definitely share with friends and family. Like and of course subscribe to the Mood Flow channel. See you.